I tried to get over there on the first shot.
Yeah, I think
But downtown.
yeah, I didn't know. Left at like 7.
Is that right? Where do you come from?
Narada Masar. So
Oh, yeah.
which is like sa Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bigger town.
The birds are chirping, and it's a beautiful day for another round of golf here at KLGCC with me, Genevieve Ling. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you guys have been having an amazing January. Let's get started on this round out at the East Course. From this clip, you can probably understand why I said, "Oh no," on the previous shot. So I thought that I was going to be a little bit too long, and past the green is a water hazard. The pin is also behind today, so I was cutting it a little bit close. But got lucky there, gave myself a birdie putt. Did not make it, a little bit of an underread, but we'll give ourselves a tap in par on the first hole. Next up, we have a par 4 playing 393 yards. As you can tell, lots of condensation from the previous night. Very common here if you've watched my videos, always happens in Malaysia. I think it's due to the humidity that we have. So just expect that for the first few holes, you're probably not going to carry the ball very far. It could be a little bit harder to spin the ball as well. However, that is more concerning the approach shot and not really the tee shot here. So after the tee shot, I left myself with 157 yards. As I just mentioned, it is wet, so this is definitely playing full carry. For my 6 iron, normally I get about 155 on an average shot, so I tried to go up to the 5 hybrid here, which is 1 club longer than the 6 iron. However, I knew that this was still going to be over club, so I tried to hit a cut there. Unfortunately, I did not end up cutting it enough, so it ended up going over the green. If I were to play this hole again, I would definitely have just went with the 6 iron because over the green here is definitely not the play. It is entirely downslope and past the pin, there is no way to stop the ball. Landing it too short is definitely not going to let it roll out either because of the wet conditions. You might just get stuck chipping from the back of the green again. So as you can tell, not ideal. I had to do what I had to do there, just take the medicine, walk away with the bogey, and move on to the next hole. Moving on to hole 12, which is my third hole, a par 5. So this tee shot looks a lot more daunting than it actually is, especially with the sun shining right in your eyes and the fence down the left side. It really makes the fairway seem a lot more narrow. So I usually just really try to focus on that tree all the way out there and just swinging towards it, rather than focusing on how narrow the fairway looks. After a decent tee shot, I left myself on the fairway, so I'm just going with a 5 foot here to give myself a good position for my third shot. As this is just a layup and because the conditions are wet, I felt like it was really unnecessary to hit through it because they probably go around the same distance anyway. So my layup ended up being a little bit too far right of where I was aiming, so I ended up in this rough, but it was still a decent position, only had 55 yards left. I would have definitely preferred to be putting uphill on this for my birdie putt, however, just because I was in the rough, that was very hard to do, so I would gladly just take this birdie putt. I was a little bit too aggressive with that birdie putt. I mean, my speed and my line just did not match up. I think I was really trying to make that because obviously I made a bogey in the last hole, so I was trying to make up for that. But thinking about what you need to do, rather than focusing on the shot that you're facing, never really helps anybody. Anyway, no harm was done there, walked away with a par, so let's move on to hole 13. This is obviously a very important tee shot. As long as you are in play off the tee, this becomes a very simple hole because you will probably only have some kind of wedge into this green. Because the pin today was located at the back of the green, you wanted to be a little bit more cautious not to be too greedy here. I think it is so easy when you have a wedge in your hand to want to go straight the pin and be very aggressive, but I can't tell you how many times myself or even the people that I've played with have tried to be aggressive on this hole and ended up in the water hazard. So obviously this is a little bit of local knowledge, but once you know that, on holes like this, even though you have a wedge in the hand, know when you need to land it in the center of the green.
Nice. Really good. Lovely. Maximum.
Just a 5 hybrid layup shot with that tee shot because there is a water hazard in front, so you can't be too aggressive there. But because the pin is in front today, only left myself with about 110 yards, so I'm going with a half pitching wedge here. I aimed it a little bit right off the pin because from the right side you actually get an uphill putt versus if you miss it left, even if you are on the green, you definitely have a lot of a tougher putt.
It is. Wow. Lovely. Beautiful.
Next up, we have the Island Green Par 3, hole 15. I'm going with a half 9 iron here and aiming it towards the right side of this pin. If you've never been here or played this hole, you probably don't know this, but I think you can actually kind of tell from the video. The left side of the green is a lot shorter than the right side of the green, meaning that if you aimed it towards the left side, there is actually less landing area. So I always encourage people to aim more towards the right side, even though it does seem like the right side more water is in play. Once you see the green, you can kind of understand why it makes sense to aim a little bit more towards the right side here. Next up, we have this par 5. Quite an intimidating tee shot, but again, I think a lot of people make it harder than it has to be. You can tell this is obviously a dogleg right, but just to reach those bunkers at the end is pretty far off, so you can actually just aim it even towards the left bunker and be completely fine. Even though I pulled that shot a little bit left of where I was aiming, I am still in the fairway. I think one of the things that a lot of people tend to do is they see a dogleg and they try to follow the dogleg because in their mind, they think that they're going to shorten the hole by doing that. Most of the time, unless you are above average in your driving distance, all that's going to do is bring in more hazards. After my second shot, I thought I hit a decent shot, but my ball took a huge bounce left, so I was lucky just to stay up here. However, my ball is kind of at that awkward angle where not only is it above my feet, but there's kind of the line between the rough and the fairway in play. So what I'm doing here is taking a little bit more club, gripping down, making sure that my club face is flat to the lie, and swinging it at a specific target. In this case, it was about 5 yards right of the pin. Hitting a good shot, especially considering where I was from, I gave myself this 9-footer for birdie. This was kind of a tricky putt as I felt like it was going both ways, and I think you can kind of see that from the video as well. Did not give it 100%, so just slipped it. But it's alright, we walked away with a par on that par 5.
Oh, it's in a sucker location.
Yep.
You going for it?
Nope. I'm going for the tree stump.
So this, without a doubt, is a sucker pin position. I don't think you can really see where it is, but it's basically right in front of that right bunker on the right side of the green. Very little landing area. My initial aim, as I said in the video, is towards a tree stump which is just left of that bunker. However, as you can see from this video, I'm actually standing on a downhill lie, which I did not realize.
Oh, shit.
Thought you said you weren't going.
Oh! Oh my god. Wow.
No. Take out the
Even though my intention wasn't to be that aggressive, I definitely had enough club for it. However, just pay attention to something even as simple as where you place your ball on the tee box and how it can possibly affect your shot, because for sure if I had just missed that a little bit, I would be trying to save bogey rather than putting for birdie here.
Wow. That's so good. Yeah, Jen.
Go get it.
That was good. Thank you.
So after a decent tee shot there, I left myself on the fairway with about 148 yards. Water is all short, so you definitely do not want to leave yourself short here, so I was going with the 7 iron. But I didn't have the best lie. The ball was sitting kind of awkwardly, and I definitely was thinking about that during my swing. Not ideal, so I kind of just guided it away from the water. But I left myself in a decent position considering that shot, so I had this chip, which was about 15 yards just left off the pin. Hit a decent chip there, just did not take enough break, but left myself with a little tap-in par. Decent tee shot on the first left me with about 90 yards, playing a little bit uphill and a little bit into the wind, so I took more club here and just went for the half 48-degree wedge. After the wedge shot, I left myself with about a 9-footer. They had done a little bit of hollow tining on this hole, as you can see it's a bit sandy, so I tried to take a little less break here and be a little bit more aggressive with it.
Nice.
I think you're okay, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna be stuck in the rough.
This hole, in my opinion, probably has one of the toughest tee shots, because if you don't hit it on the fairway, the approach shot becomes so difficult that most of the time people actually choose to lay up rather than go for it, because there is a big chance you're going to bring the water into play. Over here, I am over clubbing again because I knew based on this lie, if I hit the 6 iron, it was not going to have enough launch to get there, so I needed something that was going to go high enough. As you will be able to see, I definitely went far enough, left myself quite a long ways away from the hole. From this distance, I'm really just trying to focus on my speed here, because at least if you get the right speed, you shouldn't be that far off from the pin. Unfortunately for me, that putt broke a lot more than I ever saw it breaking, so I did leave myself quite a bit of a distance. And the second putt coming back did not break at all, so 3 putt there, but it wasn't that bad considering where I was. I mean, it was 90 feet from the hole, so I did give myself a chance for par. Fortunately didn't make it, but that's golf. After my tee shot, I had 156 yards playing 161. I decided to go with a 6 iron here, even though I thought that there's a chance it's not going to get on, because being over this green is not ideal. Unfortunately, I also did not hit that very solid. I kind of thinned it, so it was definitely short of the green. So after that, as you can see here, it's actually not that bad a position. I was chipping with my 58 degree. I was expecting it to roll out, but I did not expect it to roll out this much. So definitely not ideal. Did not leave myself with the best putt coming back for par.
Yes, ma'am.
On this hole today, the pin was located behind, so you kind of have to go over a slope to get to the pin position. However, you need to be a bit careful because if you land this above the slope, there is a chance that it's going to bounce over, and from the back, it is not ideal. So you can see the slope that I was talking about just now. I basically just got it above it, so gave myself a pretty good look at birdie here. Next hole, again we have a similar distance to the other hole, which is 161 yards. Again, I didn't feel like hitting this over would be a good idea, so I went for the 6 iron. Fortunately, I think the harder I try to hit it, the worse it gets. So not hitting this 6 iron very good, left myself in kind of an awkward position. I was trying to chip this and bump it against that uphill lie there with my 58-degree wedge, basically landing about 2 yards short of the green. I landed it about a yard too far, so it did not manage to land on that upslope, so I left myself with a pretty difficult putt from the back of the pin. From where I was looking, I thought it was going to be a left to righter, but from this angle, it actually looks more right to left.
Oh, mine went right to left.
Okay, go to
No, it's left to right.
It was a good putt, good stroke, just did not have the right line.
Nice.
Again, as we've got another par 5 here, it is just a layup shot, so going with the 5 wood here, playing a little bit of a draw so that the ball does not kick towards the right side, because sometimes when you kick towards the right side, it does get into a pretty awkward rough. So hit a decent shot and gave myself 92 yards left to the green. This is similar to the other hole on the front nine where I said that you can't really be too aggressive with the approach shot. There's a huge slope down the center of this green, so I'm just trying to let it ride the slope rather than going at the pin and being too aggressive and end up bringing waters or bunkers into play. So I gave myself a good look at birdie here. Uphill putt, which is obviously what we always like to see. Unfortunately, a lip out there, but pretty good stroke there, just did not have the right line.
Nice par.
Next up, we have a par 3. Pin position, again a little bit dangerous because the pin is behind here. So I went with the longer club here. I went with the 5 hybrid since I wasn't really getting very good results with the 6 iron. However, because I was hitting this, I definitely needed to hit it much softer. Short is better than over here because if I'm too aggressive, there's definitely a chance that was going in the water. So even though I'm trying to swing that softer, I'm still being very committed, which I think that is super important. A lot of times when we try to swing it softer, we don't commit to the shot, and that is when you start either, only swinging with your hands, or you end up just not really hitting very good shots because you are not committed to it. Swinging it soft and swinging it committed is both important. You cannot just swing a club soft and not be committed because there is zero chance that you're going to have a good result if you do that. So I think commitment to whatever shot you choose is always the key to any shot and any shot making that you do.
Jen wants to take them out.
Yeah. Good shot, Jen.
So I missed the tee shot a little bit right on that one, which ended up putting me in this lie. My ball was sitting above the rough, so I know that there was a chance that this was going to be a flyer lie. So I went with the 9 iron here thinking that I would still be okay. Unfortunately, as I expected, it was a flyer lie and it just bounced over the green. So from this position here, you will be able to see, but I'm not even landing this on the green, and it's such a super fast chip, so it was a really bad place to be.
it. Hit the tripod. Hit the tripod. Didn't touch anything. Wow! Oh my god!
So I did not hit the center of the face on the tee shot, which led it to go a little bit right, and it's not ideal in this hole because the pin today is actually on the right side of the green, so it's behind that big tree over there. From here, I only had 190 yards, but I took way more club because what I was intending to do was to hit a cut. Obviously, I don't really have much option because there's no way my 3-wood can go over that tree. And as you can also tell, I'm on an uphill lie, so which is going to tend to want to draw the ball. So because of that, I basically took 2 clubs more and just tried to open the face of the 3-wood.
Oh no! Go!
Wow. When you're lucky, you're lucky. Ah, hello.
I don't know if you could tell, but I actually hit such a good shot. I maybe started it 1 or 2 yards too far right of my target, but I think if it did not hit that tree, I would probably be in the water behind the green. So I guess that is just golf. Some days the tree will make you go in the pond, and some days the tree will put you on the green. So I hope you guys enjoyed this round and learned something from it. Let me know if one thing in particular stood out to you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and catch you guys next time.
Lucky.